Here we are once again on Cricbuzz Chatter. It's the end of day 4 of the Lord's Test. Can you imagine Test matches going into a 5th day? I mean, I was watching some in India, and by the time the 3rd day was over, we were making plans. But here it is. We're going into the 5th day. So much happened today. India seemed to have slumped a little bit, then dragged the game out to the end. England came pretty strongly back towards the end. And India 181 for 6, 154 ahead, a new ball due, and potentially 90 overs of play possible. Michael Vaughan is alongside me, and he will doubtlessly put on his captain's hat as English supporters act. Maybe towards the end, a little bit of his Twitter personality act. We'll do all that. But first of all, Michael, that last half an hour when Rahane got out and Moeen Ali bowled that dream ball to get rid of Jadeja, has that completely changed the complexion, or do you think the game was in any way heading a certain way?
In a funny way, it's probably given India more chance to win because, if they'd have batted so well, they might have batted a little bit too long tomorrow. A 180, 200 chase on this kind of wicket will not be easy. You look at those deliveries, particularly the one that got Jadeja out. And in the back of Jadeja's mind tonight must be thinking, wait a minute, if Moeen Ali's bowled in those kind of balls and getting the ball to spin up the slope, what can I do tomorrow afternoon to all those right-handers that England have? So I think in a funny way, those wickets that Moeen got gave India more chance of winning tomorrow because Jadeja will certainly be in the game. That wicket of Pujara as well, Mark Wood, an old ball, he got the ball to bounce. From nowhere, that ball just sprung. I don't know what you feel, Harsha, but the ground today and the atmosphere, I don't think I've ever seen Lords like it because you had Rishabh coming out at the end and he got an incredible ovation. But before that, the crowd were just completely in on this guy, Pujara. Getting off the mark, it took him forever, a big cheer. They then cheered his 100 balls like someone that has just got a double century. They then cheered his 200 balls like someone who's just got 300. I don't think I've ever kind of been at Lords when I felt that the whole ground were just completely kind of obsessed with one player, Pujara. Fantastic atmosphere. I thought that partnership was just exactly what India needed at that time. I don't think they needed to do anything different.
I'm glad you said that because I mean there's a lot of chatter on social media, and I've often said what you say on social media you can because it doesn't have to be right. You're not being judged by your virtues. But there was a lot of discussion on whether Pujara and Rahane were ensuring that India cannot win this game, that there was too much of a focus on saving it. I just thought 50 for 3. Virat Kohli is looking good. He's gone. Rohit Sharma's gone. Suddenly you're 80 for 6, and there's the game gone there. So in a sense, I was actually quietly admiring it. And yeah, I mean, we had a big laugh as well when the crowd started to applaud Pujara. The fun thing is that Pujara will have a smile, but it won't affect him because these were two strong characters. They might be short of runs. Rahane is short of runs. Pujara is short of runs. They are two incredibly tough characters. And so they went back to what they were best at, which is blocking and looking for a single here and there. And yeah, so I'm interesting. That's what you thought of Pujara's approach.
But more importantly, Harsha, what they have done is taken another session out of the game and it's given that pitch another session to wear. So if Pujara and Rahane had come out and played a few shots and got out, that pitch would not have worn anything like what we'll see now for tomorrow's, last day action, because England probably would have bowled India out for 140, chased 100. They've had 20 overs batting tonight, game pretty much gone. Now, by batting in the way that they've done, they've allowed bowlers to run through the follow through, create a bit more rough. There'll be another heavy roller goes into it tomorrow, so more pace will be taken out of it. It was the perfect, as much as look, we love Rishabh Pant because he's going to come out and play a few shots and it's exciting, but Test cricket allows difference. It allows players to play in a different sense. And I've been watching Pujara very closely, and I think he's been trying to play the unlike Pujara way. Today's the way that he plays. That is what you've got. That's what you have at your number 3 in the Indian Test match team. Someone that's willing to occupy the crease, play a bit ugly, but it's exactly what the Indian team needs at that number 3 when he's playing like that. And I love that smile. I love that element of just, I think he knew all the crowd were like having a bit of a chuckle at his expense, but it didn't bother him. It was a brilliant partnership, and it's really set up this game of cricket and this exciting last day.
I thought England's approach was interesting too, because I got the feeling there were specific plans for specific players. And Root just kept shifting those plans from time to time, occasionally moving to a leg side field, occasionally getting Wood to come in and bowl those short balls, bowling the seventh, eighth stump line to Virat Kohli, which brings me to those two players. What did you make of the approach to Virat Kohli and then the short ball approach when Pujara and Rahane were blocking?
Well, I'm looking at, first and foremost, Virat Kohli. I thought he played okay. I thought he was just set to go on and get the big score. He's just got an issue, Harsha. It looks to me like he's moving quite a long way over to that off stump. And it looks like he's off stump, and that fourth stump's probably going to around fifth and sixth stump. So he's not quite sure where his off stump is at the minute. When he got all those runs last time in the UK, he just left the ball because he knew exactly where that off stump was. I think that trigger movement where he goes across to the off stump, I think he's going just a little bit too far, and that means that he's not quite sure about where that ball is on around the channel. He shouldn't be getting out to that kind of ball today. He's too good a player. Rohit Sharma, he shouldn't be getting out to that trap. That was the trap. He's been doomed by the trap once again. That's twice in the series that he's got out to the pull shot. I think he's
just
played
hang on to the pull shot theory
10,
a little longer. Just hang on to that pull shot theory, because I know you've been a top order batsman, you've been an opener, you would have fancied playing that shot. But on the approach of Rohit Sharma, I thought we'll put the former England captain in the hot spot. A common friend, and you know Andy Zoltzman, don't you? Andy Zoltzman, the comic and the stand-up, is incredibly funny. But the other side to Andy is that he is a complete stats nut, and he will pull out the most obscure stats. But this one makes sense. Rohit Sharma has played 10 pull shots or hook shots. I think the pull shot is easier. The hook shot is the one he's getting out, because the two balls he's got out to a lot higher. He's at 2 sixes, 2 fours, and 2 dismissals. 26 for 2. The numbers are not in his favor. But what would you do? Assuming you are Rohit Sharma, that shot has brought you a lot of runs in the past, and now you're Rohit Sharma's captain. So for either of those two.
Very simply, he has a decision to make. He either improves his technical side in terms of how he plays that pull shot. So when the field is set, 3 fielders on the boundary, he has to have the ability to get his hands a bit higher and knock the ball down. Trying to take the fielders on and put it into the stands when there's 3 out there, that's just stupid. That's not what's required in Test cricket. T20 cricket, 50 over cricket, try it all day long. But in Test match cricket, it's not required. And he's too good a player. He's too good a player to gift that wicket. That trap set. He's a better player. He should be able to get his hands higher and hit it down. Or you know what, Harsh? Let it hit him, or ride it and just knock it for 1 in terms of just getting high above it and just working it onto that onside. England are going to pepper him now. They're going to, whenever he gets in 20 balls, 30 balls, they'll just go, right, let's set that 3 fielders on the onside, bowl him a few bounces. He's a better player. He's a brilliant player, but he's never got a century away from India in Test match cricket. And if he continues to play in that fashion, it might be a little while longer. He played brilliantly in the first innings. He's too good a player in the remaining 3 Test matches over here in the UK to not get a century.
Yeah.
He's got the game. He's got all the talent. He's got all the time. He must, with the way that he's playing, just nullify that risk. He doesn't need to be playing that shot when the trap is set, Arsh. It's the worst feeling in the world when the trap is set and you fall for it first ball of asking. He'll be
Yeah, I mean,
disappointed with that.
there's long been a debate about, see, I get out playing the cover drive. Should I stop playing the cover drive? Ian Chappell's point of view there, because Ian Chappell was a magnificent hooker and puller of the ball in Australian conditions. You need the back foot shots. If I'm defending outside off and I get nicked off, should I stop defending? My own view is, what's the risk return with playing the cover drive? If you got out with the cover drive twice, but you still got an 8 in 10 chance of playing the cover drive again. But if you've got out of the pull shot twice, and the risk with playing a pull shot is greater, than maybe you don't. I mean, it's interesting that he looked at his bat as soon as he played the shot. And I think he was suggesting that it came off the bottom of his bat. That is the risk you take, isn't it? Every ball's not going to go off the middle of the bat. But I just wonder if England played on his ego a little bit. You bounce me, it doesn't matter. I hit you out of the ground. I hit 1. So I just wonder if the short ball approach, you can sometimes play to the ego of the batsman.
Yeah, absolutely. But, the advice I'll give Rohit Sharma, facing Jimmy Anderson with the ball manoeuvring around either way is hard. And you've seen Jimmy Anderson off. And now you've got your opportunity.
True.
You've got your opportunity just to grind the team down and just bat. Don't take any risk, because you've done the hard yards. But getting out to that pull shot in the UK, again, the boundaries are big. Square of the wicket generally here in the UK is big, so you're taking a big risk of trying to clear that fielder set on the boundary. He's got to put it away. He's got to put it away. Technically, play it a bit better. He's too good. He's too good to be a gift in his wicket. He's too key a wicket, and it's what England want. As you said, playing on an ego, they'll continue to do it. They'll continue to bowl short to him, and he's got to just bring some technical change or a mindset change of understanding. Getting under a few duckers, on a slow wicket, just get under a few bombs. It's absolutely fine. That's playing without ego. When you see a field set and the bowler bounces, you just go, "Thank you very much. I'll just let it go through to the
Yeah,
keeper. Try again. Use all that effort again, and I'll duck again."
that's what
See
the
you
great
later.
traditional
That's the way to
the
play
great
the short
traditional
stuff.
test match openers. I mean, how long is he going to come running in and bang it short if it's just a waste of time? I actually quite like what Rahane did as well, and I don't know if you believe in that. Sometimes you're out of sorts. You just need that much time in. So Pujara gets 200 balls in. Rahane gets 120, 130 balls in. Now the question is, can they carry that form into, or carry the number of balls they faced into the next three tests? I mean, I'm not sure either of them are back to their most fluent best. I mean, Pujara's fluent is a bit different from anyone else's fluent, but he's got his own way. I just don't know whether they played enough to get into the third test. I guess we'll know when we see the start of the third test, but at least they got that many balls behind. And if India can save this test or not lose it, or even in what seems at the moment a slightly unlikely scenario of actually winning it, they'll start to think, you know what, I contributed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think they're more in this game than you probably
Mm-hmm.
think. I think there's enough out there for the bowlers. Clearly it comes down to that first half an hour, but I think with the way that partnership took so long, it's definitely had an effect on the pitch. There was something happening just after tea that wasn't happening
Yes.
just after lunch. There was something happening towards the end of the day that wasn't happening just after tea because the pitch has started to wear. There's a little bit more in terms of footholds. And some of those Moeen Ali deliveries were taking a
Yeah.
puff. They were just taking a pitch out of the surface, something that we'd not seen until after tea on day 4. So that'll happen more tomorrow. It's Rishabh. It's
Okay, I'll
Rishabh.
talk to you about that. Yeah,
Rishabh gives you half
yeah.
an hour, Harsha, and it's the
I'll,
game. Could
yeah,
quite possibly be the
I'll
game.
bring that up. I saw the ball kick up a bit of dust as well. And you know how it is with us Indians sometimes. We just go for a walk around London. You're never too far away from a good Indian curry house. And you go in and you get the smells and you think, right, this seems familiar to me. You saw the ball pick up a little bit of dust and you said, at last, this looks familiar to us. The ball's picking a bit of dust. But now let's look ahead to day 5. It's time for Fast Forward. Michael, there's a rested Jimmy Anderson. I don't know how bad Mark Wood's shoulder is because he was all strapped up. I don't know how bad his shoulder is. Maybe Ollie Robinson, the sleep will do him well. I don't know. He looked out of sorts, and there's Sam Curran, but it's largely Anderson now, and it's going to be Pant versus Anderson. But do you think there's a little bit of Anderson versus Bumrah there as well? He's bowled 18 overs, Anderson. I don't know the story with Robinson is, but Curran 15, Mark Wood 14 with that new ball. There's Ishant Sharma and 3 other bowlers to come. Is Jimmy Anderson licking his lips a little bit?
Well, yeah, it should be. Because Jimmy gets one, he could quite easily get all 4 quite quickly. Mark Wood's up there bowling quickly, so I'm sure they'll go after Jasprit Bumrah. There's a bit of
Mm,
theatre there with what he did to Jimmy Anderson. Um, you look at the time in the game, so 90
yes.
overs remaining in the game, and if India can bat 12 or 13 of those overs to get another 50 odd runs, 60 runs, because that's the kind of number they'll be scoring at because Rishabh are playing shots. It's then a 200, 210 chase inside 70 odd overs, and then you start looking at runs per over because it looks harder and harder to score at that 3 runs per over. This England batting lineup, Harsha, is Joe
Yes.
Root. And that's why I just think at the minute, England are favourites. I think I'd rather be in the England dressing room just. But if India bat for 40 minutes to an hour and that chase becomes 190, 200, I think I then turn to India and think, wait a minute, that's going to take some chasing on that wicket on the last day. Joe Root can't keep doing it. He can't keep getting all the runs for the team. Um, the great thing is that we arrive on day 5. There's a new ball due. There's Rishabh Pant, who's a delight. The way he just waits to bat lying down and just laughing. I
Yeah,
mean,
I saw
I've never
that.
seen
Yeah.
that before, but we enjoy that. I mean, we just love the character of Rishabh Pant. To think that we're arriving on day 5 with every single result possible. Rishabh Pant to face Jimmy Anderson, the Jasprit Brummer Jimmy Anderson contest, then Bumrah to bowl to an England batting lineup again. Siraj charging in, Sharma, Jadeja. Anything's possible tomorrow. It's been a fantastic Test
Okay,
match.
a little more specifically with a couple with a couple of issues. Yes, Rishabh Pant gets runs quickly, and suddenly the lead gets to about 180, 190. Then the fear moves into the English camp. If not fear, the certain discomfort moves into the English camp. So it'll be interesting if Rishabh Pant can get a quick 30 odd runs tomorrow and still be not out and shepherd the tail. Moin Ali bowled well today. You talked about Jadeja. Now, a lot of the rough is outside the right hander's leg stump on either side. I don't know if that rough is going to come into play for the right hander. And number one, and number two, what end does he bowl from with the slope?
Oh, I think Jadeja bowls in his nursery stand end, and then the quicks come from the pavilion end and
Yeah.
just get the ball sliding down the slope. It was just that one delivery that Moeen bowled to Jadeja that was a beauty, and that pitched on the posh bit. That didn't hit any rough; it just hit right in the middle of the pitch, bit of drift up the slope. That was the ball that suggested to me that this pitch is going to offer a lot for Jadeja, and the way that he fires him in to challenge those pads. Look, as I've said, England are favourites. England at the minute got the noses in front, but it's been ebbing and flowing. The morning session today, England dominated, and we all felt, a couple of wickets after lunch, England may only be chasing 80 or 90. That partnership got India back in, and then those wickets towards the end have obviously given England that kind of little lead that you think is them as favourites. But Rishabh Pant, it's all about Rishabh. It's all about Ishan. I like the move, Ishan being
Yes.
promoted. I enjoyed that. Of all the tail end that India have got who are useless, he's the best of the useless four, if you know
See,
what I
you
mean.
come hard. But I'll tell you one thing about tailenders, Michael, and it doesn't matter whether your tailenders playing for India, I'd assume, or your tailenders in your very first season. When you in your very first season, when you get into the school team, because you're the kid and everyone else is older, you always start at 11. And then one day you get 10. And that is like scoring 100. And then one day you get to 9, you get to 8, and the world is opening up. So maybe just Ishan Sharma said, I'm the senior most. I'm going out to bat at 8. But just before we end, because Michael's really set it up for what looks like a very good day yesterday. I've often said there's Michael the batsman, there's Michael the cricket captain. Have you been checking your Twitter account today, Michael?
Yeah. And you know what? I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that someone had trodden on the ball. Look, I think sometimes a still picture can
Yeah.
make things look a damn sight worse. I'll say also that if England did try to do it, it didn't work because the ball didn't move an inch. So they're not very good at it if they've tried it. I didn't think there was anything untoward. I went to look at the coverage afterwards to make sure that I was studying to see if England had tried to really screw up the ball. I didn't feel that they had, but obviously a still shot picture, and then it goes and escalates itself across social media. Never looks great, but the batting coach of India came out and didn't think that India had any kind of issue with what had gone on. But so that's where social media sometimes can be a little bit precarious.
Yeah.
It can make a picture look a bit worse than actually what happened at that given moment. I didn't think
Yeah.
too much
I saw
of
the
the incident,
I,
to
I
be
saw
honest,
I saw
Harsha.
the moving pictures as well, and someone just sort of kicks the ball, someone's shoe comes on top of it. All I'll tell you is if England wanted to do it, then they were being really silly, because with the cameras these days, everything
Mm.
is up. And as a bowler suggested to us, hang on, but you don't know which side is up when you're trying to trot on it. It could be the side that you don't want damaged because the other side could be down. The only interesting thing was when you look at that still picture there with the spikes out in the shoe below, the sole is yellow in color, and yellow and ball tampering have a bit of a history. So I hope I don't want to read too much into that yellow and ball tampering. Just a quick final one. Where we are at the moment, 154. It could be 165 to get for England. It could be 200, 210 to get for England. Give us a number, Michael. Is it 60-40? Is it 70-30? Is it? We like those. In India, we like to
I reckon
speculate in
it'll be
India a lot.
okay. I'll make it very simple. If it's under 200, England win. If it's over 200, I think there's a chance. Obviously, India will win, but also a chance of a draw because there'll be a few hours out of the game. I'll just go back to the selection of the Indian team. If they'd have had our Ashwin playing, 154 would have been plenty, because our Ashwin, I think, would have seen the England batting lineup off. The fact that he's not playing, I think it gives England a real fair chance of chasing down this target. But England don't win Test matches easily, Harsh. They don't win them by a stroll. It will be dramatic. I promise
Okay,
you
we
that.
will wait and see. There's tension in your camp, but what do the great players always tell you? There's always fear in the enemy camp you can play to as well. So there you are, the fear in the opposition, the fear in your camp. It's going to be a wonderful last day. And at the end of it, of course, do join us on Cricbuzz Chatter.